Hey guys, it's me Chandrak, and today's video is about like who should you choose for your S rank selector, and also for the signature weapon selector though, or the 6-star weapon selector though. So in this case, maybe some of you may be confused like what character that will be good, especially if you may be aiming for long term and something like that. Yeah, we will discuss in here, and of course this is basically on my experience, and yeah, you can follow or not follow because in the end this is only recommendation. So let's get started. I will rank this for the top 5. Of course, the higher the number, that means the more important that character will be. So for number 5, my choice will go to Lift Luminance. Yes, Lift Luminance is considered the old unit, but this consideration you can pick if you able to lip this character though. If you and lip basically just mean that I give buff to this character, and the buff actually pretty good though to make Leaf Luminance become relevant again. And what actually the buff is, basically just mean like Leaf become a very good buffer. It will just like make the physical team getting stronger in overall. You can just see increase their physical damage bonus by 10%, and later you also see in here like level 18 just increase critical damage moment of target heal, basically increase crit, increase damage. This just make like the physical team in overall getting stronger, and that's actually very good to buff for the new character that will come, which is Bianca Stigmata. So I just recap like what the pros and cons and why you should pick and don't pick Liv though. So first about the pros is that first she got Lip, which means she get buff. That means although she outdated, she become more relevant again. And second, she is a good support and healer in the same time in your physical team, so it can give you buff in your crit and both rate and damage, and reduce the physical resistance for your enemy, which is good. And third, she is basically part of physical meta team before Alisa come. And the cons about her is that she only meta for less than a year, because later she will get replaced by Alisa. And probably the fastest one among all my top 5, she will left out of the meta very fast compared to other. And second, she require Lip in order to perform efficiently, which is it can be very expensive, because you have to imagine that you build one whole character, right? And then you have to add on the Lip, and the Lip material also very expensive, and turn out to be like can be more expensive than just building a normal character though. So yeah, to make it like very simple, pick Luminance if you want to complete your physical meta team. Let's say you really like Bianca Stigmata, you already have Rosetta, sure, then why you just pick like Luminance in order to make your physical team become complete, right? And I don't recommend for you to pick Leaf if you watch this video already around Alpha Crimson with patch, because if you're already at that patch, that means Alisa will come less than 6 months, around 4 months even, or 5 months. So I don't really recommend it, because very soon she will out of meta, so better to pick other character. And second, if you feel you cannot afford to Lip, I don't recommend for you to choose Leaf Luminance, because the biggest improvement in Leaf is that you really need Lip. So if you cannot afford because it's too expensive, better to choose another character. If you have questions like should you use this S rank selector to SS or even triple S your Leaf Luminance, my personal answer is that I don't really recommend, since Leaf will only part of the meta less than a year, so it will feel kind of waste. But actually the effect is not bad. For kind of example, that from S to SS, it will increase your physical damage bonus from 10% to 20% if you Lip, so that's pretty much kind of good though. So, but yeah, it's only a matter of the lifespan, it's very short, so in the end it's your choice, but I don't really recommend. And move to the number 4, which is my choice, will go to Kamui Tenebrion. So Kamui is my next choice over Leaf, just because I feel like Kamui Tenebrion, even until like CN right now, he's still pretty much a good option as a dark tanker if you don't have Karina Shear as S3. Just because of that, he still have quite good long run, and pretty much a very good choice for free to play that don't have a Karina Shear though. So just make it simple, what the pros and cons, why you should pick and not pick. So for the pros, the first one, that he is basically a good tank for the dark team in general. It's not even like meta or non-meta, even you're just like a new player or even like normal player, it's very good to have Kamui Tenebrion, because he can reduce the dark resistance, and it's actually just a good additional thing in dark team. And second, as I mentioned before, he is basically a good substitute in the dark tank if you don't have Karina SSG with the weapon, or at least Karina S with the weapon. Let's talk the cons about Kamui Tenebrion. So first, if you really want to compete in very high competitive, let's say in the leaderboard, maybe you aim like less than 5%, something like that, for your either PPC or Warzone, then even you have your Kamui at SSS plus, usually it's still not the best option over like Karina SS3 plus weapon, because usually those people that aim for highly competitive, they already have Karina with SS3 with the weapon. So if you you very competitive person, then sadly Kamui is still not enough for you in order to become like high competitive. But if you just only care to like get in the bottom row and just like do everything normally, then yeah, it should be fine. And second, this is only for the Kamui Tenebrion Heifer starting from SS and above, but if you're less than SS, then you can completely ignore this. So basically, if you're in SS, yeah, sure, you get like extra dark damage reduction, right? But in here that you have like requirement that you need to do your ultimate first before you switching. Compared if you use like Karenina, it's actually still more comfy with the with the weapon itself. You basically just trigger the QT and basically that's it. You get everything the dark damage resistant. But for Kamui Tenebrion require a little bit gimmick, so it's not really as comfy as Karina Sheer. And my recommendation to pick Kamui Tenebrion if you feel like you want to complete your dark team, that means maybe you need like dark tank, then yeah, he will be a good option. And second, if you don't have Karina Sheer or you even don't have any plan to pull Karina Sheer or even going for the weapon or SS3, then you can consider to pick Kamui Tenebrion. And now for me, the recommendation to not pick Kamui Tenebrion first, if you feel like you decide you want to give like more investment to your dark team, let's say okay, I want to build maybe future for Lamia, make Karina Capriccio strong, then I suggest like that if you're already aiming for high like invest dark team, then you should go for Karina Sheer compared to Kamui Tenebrion, because as much you want to make your Kamui Tenebrion SS plus, even Karina Sheer at SS3 like it's already beating like Kamui Tenebrion though. So if you feel like you can invest high, then don't invest high in Kamui Tenebrion, just go with Karina Sheer. And as I told you before, if you're aiming for like top leaderboard, let's say in PPs or Warzone, like in top 5%, even 1%, then better choose like Karina Sheer. Even though you can only like first doing like S, then yeah, sure, no problem. Then maybe eventually you can SS3 her. Just because like if you really aim that high competitive, it's not enough for you for Kamui as like I want to give you hope, but it's pretty hard because people in there at least like SS3. Even me, I already have SS3. So if you want to compete like very high and to make it a lot easier, then I suggest to just get Karina Sheer instead though. But that's only for highly competitive. But as a like general, I told you before, he's perfectly fine. And the last one, should you use your S Selector to SS Kamui? For me, if you kind of want like the extra dark resistance reduction, then sure though, especially you have no plan to get Karina Sheer in the future. And yeah, that will be even good though to upgrade your Kamui for me. Now we move into my top 3, and the third one will starting with Luna. Basically, in short, that Luna is the best or even second the best dark DPS in the dark team. So it actually depends. It between like Karina Sheer or Luna, depends on your investment. And soon, of course, she will getting replaced by Lamia. But before that, like she's still pretty much good. And especially if you want to starting to build a dark team, then she's one of the core at least for right now in global. Because I already told before at BGR about DPS, and Luna is dark DPS. So basically, that's what you need at the first when you want to build a dark team. But to make it like in summary, let's talk about the pros and cons, what you should pick and not pick. So the first pros about like Luna is that she's basically the best, as I told you before, or even second the best dark DPS, depend on the investment. Of course, if you already have Karina Sheer as SG with weapon, it's a little bit better than just SS Luna itself though. Before Lamia, of course, because after Lamia she become second or third. And second, as I recording this video, she's currently holding as one of the core in the dark meta team, which able to clear hard content. Let's say you want to aim like PPC, Warzone, Norman, and whatever hard content bubble, then yeah, you pretty much really need Luna because she's one of the core in dark meta team. And the cons about Luna, basically she doesn't have one. It's just like she will just getting replaced by Lamia. It's around like maybe 10 to 11 months, something like that. Still longer than Leaf Luminance lifespan. But yeah, soon she will getting replaced. So because of that, that's the only thing that you should consider. Because yeah, later the meta team will become like Lamia, Karina Sheer, or yes, you can still use Kamui Tenebrion and then Karina Capriccio. Then Luna is out of meta. And now I will talk about my recommendation if you want to pick Luna first. If you need a strong meta DPS dark team while waiting Lamia, especially if you're watching this around 2023, and it's still pretty much worth for you if you want to starting build your dark team, then yeah, you can choose Luna as your starting point. And second, if you need to complete your dark meta team, especially as per recording this video, Lamia is still quite long, around like 10 months. And right now, let's say you already have, let's say, Karina Sheer SS3 with Selena Capriccio triple S, then yeah, why not build pick Luna though if you want to complete your Dark Meta team, because it's still pretty much long, right? Around 10 months. So it doesn't matter if you want kind of to complete your Dark team. I think it's still pretty much worth. My only recommendation to not pick Luna is that if you already watched this video around Hanging Patch, which is assuming that's already 2024, then Lamia will come very soon, around less than 5 months, and better to pick another option though. And then if you still question me why I choose Luna first than Kamui, like I give higher rank Luna than Kamui, although Kamui is still able to use and Luna will getting replaced by Lamia, just because I say PJ is all about DPS, and then as I record in this video, Lamia is still pretty long, so you should have to get the strongest DPS in your team, which is Luna. Then you need Luna first compared to Kamui though. But of course with notes that if you already watch this in 2024, then I think then Kamui have more priority than Luna, of course, in my opinion. And lastly, if you kind of still confused, should you use your S selector to S as your Luna? My answer is really up to you, because S as Luna is just about like adding more like DPS or adding more damage to your Luna though. So if you feel like you want to increase your personal damage for Luna, then sure. Okay, so after this, we will move into top 2, but take notes, these top 2 characters, they can be interchangeable just because they're very important in very different ways. So it's very depends on your account progression itself. So to save, like make it very easily that you can assume like both of them is rank 1. Regardless, because I have to choose one of them which one, then yeah, I will give my second place to Lucia Plume. So overview about Lucia Plume is that she is literally the best ice DPS, but later will overtake by Ayla soon, but still become the second best DPS afterward, and still kinda relevant in CN even as I recording this video right now, because like we never get any new ice team beside Ayla, so just because of that, Lucia Plume still relevant in CN. But to make it easier, let's talk about pros and cons, why you should pick and not pick about Lucia. And the pros, as I mentioned before, like she basically the best ice DPS before Ayla Kaleido, and still second the best DPS after Ayla. And second, she's still meta even in CN until right now. I don't know why we don't have any new ice unit beside Ayla. So she feels already kinda eternal character at this point as I recording this video. I don't know in the future, of course. And third, that I want to add, she has high ultimate or nuke damage in short period of time. So some of the case in here that people will use the kind of Lucia ultimate is to speed running, like in PPC. So if you kind of maybe want to speed running and something like that, you can consider for Lucia Plume also. And cons about Lucia Plume, basically she doesn't have one, but yeah, only that make her a little bit lose value is that later when Ayla Kaleido come on around January, if I'm not wrong, then she become the second best DPS, so lose ultimate value but still important unit, and actually still part of the core meta unit right now as I recording this video. And the next one, maybe she will getting replaced soon in CN, just because I already say that she literally the oldest meta character that still exists though. Other than that, already getting replaced, Bianca Veritas getting replaced, even Luna already getting replaced. Some of you maybe argue like Rosetta, but Rosetta is still newer than Lucia Plume. And now I give to my recommendation to pick Lucia Plume first. If you need ice DPS or you want just to start your ice team, then yeah, starting with Lucia Plume, because I already said before PJ about DPS, then yeah, she is literally the DPS of ice right now, and still very recommended to pick Lucia Plume. And second, if you need to complete your meta ice team, then pick for Lucia Plume, because even though you already have Chrome Glory and one shot, it's still not enough for DPS. Lucia Plume will make it even higher though, so that's why you really need to pick Lucia Plume if you want to complete your ice team meta. And my recommendation to not pick Lucia Plume is basically nothing, because in the end it's very dependent on your account progression and your preferences. That's why I say Lucia Plume even can become the number 1 of my pick though, because it's very dependent on your account progress. Just because I said before is that ice team in general we don't have so much choice, and as I recording this video, the best ice DPS is only Lucia Plume. And if you still question should you use the S selector to S as your Lucia Plume, in the end it's still same case like Luna. If you want more damage in your personal DPS of your Lucia Plume, then sure though. And for the number 1 of my choice, I will give to my one of my favorite character, basically Rosetta. The overview about Rosetta is that she basically, as I recording this video, she's still the best tank in physical team and still meta, and even getting better with the leap or the buff itself. The main selling point of hers is that she's able to reduce the physical defense to the enemy, and basically that means that your main DPS, let's say Alpha Crimson Abyss or even Bianca Stigmata, can deal more damage, and that's very important. To make it simple, let's talk about pros and cons and why you should pick and not pick Rosetta. So the pros about Rosetta is basically Rosetta get lip or buff. It means that Rosetta getting stronger in overall. The overview of the buff is that she now can pull enemy, get more energy, can deal higher damage in ultimate. Now the effect of like physical resistance reduction getting higher also, so it just makes Rosetta getting better in overall. And second, as I told you before, that she the best physical tank just because she can reduce the physical defense to the enemy and also reduce the physical resistance, something like that. And the third one, as per recording this video, basically Rosetta still part of the meta team even in CN, just because we still don't have any replacement for Gen 2 physical tank, so she's still relevant until right now. And the cons about Rosetta is the first, it's same with Leaf Luminance because Leaf can be very expensive. That means you need to throw more resource for your Rosetta itself, so more expensive than just building the normal unit. And my recommendation for you to pick Rosetta first, if you need a solid physical tank, then yeah, choose for Rosetta. Even though you don't have any leaf for your Rosetta, it's still kinda outclass like your Isla even SS plus though, because like physical tank Rosetta still the best even as the base though. And second, if you need to complete your meta physical team, then sure you can choose for Rosetta. And third, this is actually more into my take, but I know most of you really aiming for Bianca Stigmata. So if you really dedicated your life and you really want to take care of your Bianca, give all the best with your Bianca Stigmata, make her happiest woman in the world, then for sure you need to pull or pick Rosetta though, because yeah, for sure your Bianca Stigmata will be very happy with the damage. And my recommendation to not pick Rosetta is that first, if you still kind of new player or probably still starting this game and you still need to build other team like maybe Ice, Dark or something like that, then better to prioritize DPS first like Luna or Lucia Plume maybe more, because I said before that in PGR is about DPS, so getting DPS is more essential than compared to getting the tank and support, something like that, because if you already have DPS, that's one of the core that you should get first. So in the end, I say back again, it's very depend on your account progression or your preferences. And if you still question should you use your S Selector to SS your Rosetta, my answer and my personal opinion is that because in SS when you trigger your QTE, now it will inflict the Lens of Perception, which is the effect of Lens of Perception is very good. It literally reduces the target physical defense by 20%. So because of that, it will be such a quality of life. You don't need to trigger like Blue Orb anymore, just trigger from QTE, and I very recommend to get though for your physical team. And if you wonder why I give Rosetta number 1 compared to Lucia Plume, although I say they can interchangeable, but in my opinion is that she's not as old as Lucia Plume, and also Rosetta get lip, which make her at least get something new and feel still more relevant compared to Lucia Plume never get anything, it's already same old kids though. So because of that, I feel like she's more relevant. And also as I recording this video, we are about to enter Bianca Stigmata patch, and because of that, I know a lot of people really want Bianca Stigmata. I don't know for the reason for waifu meta or whatever it is. I know people really love Bianca Stigmata and very hyped about her. So because of that, if you want to get Bianca Stigmata, then Rosetta is one of the essential unit for you to get, like basically the best companion though. And lastly, if you still kind of confused, you still very don't know what should SS to your character using this as Selector, and yeah, this is my choice. First, my choice will go to Rosetta. I told you before, just because it's really improve your quality of life and consistency for you to get like the physical defense reduction, and that's very important for me. You don't need to do the Blue Orb, you only need to trigger from QT. That's such a quality of life. Second of my choice is Kamui Tenebrion, because it's still pretty much good, improve your dark resistance reduction to 25%, but you still need to do the ultimate again, so it's not as comfy as Rosetta like improvement. And third, it's basically Leaf Luminance, because it still increase your physical damage bonus from 10% to 20%, but again you kinda need Leap in here, so it's kinda like feels expensive, and also she has the shortest lifespan for in the meta compared to other. And lastly, my choice for SS is just go to Luna and Lucia, because they're just providing like more damage, nothing like kind of quality of life though, so it's just matter of personal damage. If you feel you need it, then sure. And for the weapon selector, which one you should take, I only rate on top 5, and take notes, I only review them based on the effect, not like how strong the character is. I only review because this effect is good. So my number 5 will goes into like Darkness, which is the signature weapon of Kamui Tenebrion, because this is basically just increase like Kamui Tenebrion DPS in overall, because after do tripping, physical and dark damage increased by 20%. It's very easy to trigger also only tripping, that's why it's pretty recommend, and like Kamui is one of my choices in pick like in S rank Selector. So because of that, like giving him more like DPS is also not bad idea. And my number 4 will go into the Sakura, which is the signature weapon of like Crimson Abyss, because it's basically good for like Crimson Abyss in overall, because each ping will increase physical damage by 2% for 5 seconds, and like max text is 10 times, and basically increase damage in Crimson Abyss in like overall. Because I don't really like how Kuji no Sada work, because it's very situational. It's good, but it has percentage. See, attack have 20% to call down the lightning, and that deals 50%. So it's like only like it's RNG. It's not like Sakura that literally just increase your damage like straight away. So if you really like Crimson Abyss and still like to use and improve the damage more consistent than this one, then Sakura will be a good weapon though for me in Selector. And before I move into top 3, I still have a couple of honorary mention. If you maybe like those character and really want kind of improve the damage, I see like Zero Scale, the Lee Entropy one signature weapon is pretty much good. Like doesn't have so much restriction. It's like basically straightforward increase damage. And also the Fusion Dragon, the signature weapon of Karina Ember, this is also not so much restriction, only like straightforward increase fire damage, also ping rate of increase. So very kind of easy to trigger also. And now we move to the top 3. Basically take notes, in this top 3 the gap between all those that I mentioned before is far away, just because also they very important in meta and they very useful, and the importance is just higher than them, just a lot higher than them. And the third position will go into Ozma. Ozma is the signature weapon from Luna itself, just because this is very good in general, increase DPS in general. See, dark damage and fourth spine produce additional 100%. That's basically just getting stronger. Just mean, okay, my Luna is getting strong. Solar Ring, actually it's very good solid weapon that you don't really have to get that 6-star weapon, but it's just like this one is a little bit restrictive because you need like situation to trigger. See, your full damage increased by 50% for 8 seconds if 3 signal orbs in different color are pink. So you need to trigger 3 signal orb different color though. So it's a little bit have requirement for you to activate, while compared to just like Ozma is just like, okay, I give you more damage. So I say again, in PGR it's about damage and DPS. Getting more damage, that means good for your Luna, and Luna is part of the meta character, at least before Lamia. So that's why this is one of the important weapon for you to get. And second position will go into Crimson Birch. Oh my god, it can be Birch. But yeah, this is the signature weapon of Lucia Bloom. Basically it's just straightforward, increase your damage again, like ice damage increase, all damage increased by 10% by 5 seconds after 3 pings. Basically just increase like DPS for Lucia Bloom in general. But again, I say, in PGR, all about DPS. That means the more DPS, the better in here. So give you to the best DPS right now in Ice Team. That means that's a very wise option. And I already say before that I really hate Kujino Sada like effect. It's good but RNG though. And this Crimson weapon is basically can make it more consistent compared to Kujino Sada. That's why you can consider to pick this Lucia Bloom signature weapon. For the number 1 place, my choice will go to Gungnir, which is the signature weapon for Rosetta. Basically this effect is just way too good. See, if you damage the target, will reduce their physical defense by 20%, and also it will make like the damage from Rosetta even higher. So that means in short that it will reduce target physical defense and make Rosetta damage even higher though. So it has 2 effects though. Compare if you just see the 5-star weapon from hers, it's just way too like inferior. Like the 6-star weapon one is 2-way super. See, it's only increased attack by 10% after casting 3 like the medium electromagnet. Yeah, that's it. Compared to the 6-star weapon one of the signature weapon from Rosetta itself, basically just way too good. It has 2 effect, damage and reduce like target physical defense, which is so great. Like I already said before that, yeah, Lucia Bloom signature weapon, which is Crimson, which is good, increased damage in overall. But I say Kujino Sada is still good weapon in general. It's just like RNG though. So that means if you can just remove the RNG itself, their gap is not that high though. But this one, the gap from the Gungnir and the 5-star weapon one from the Rosetta itself, it just feels so different though. That's why like this weapon is so recommended to take. And now we move to the conclusion, which is which one that you should choose as a whole package. That means that you want to get that correct in their signature weapon itself though. So for my recommendation or my choice, I will choose only top 3, just because I feel like the other not really good as a whole package. This is the only 3 that I feel is very good for you to take. And number 3, they actually have 2 characters. It very depends on when you watch this video, because the later you watch this video, the importance will become different though. So the first one is, if you're watching this video in 2023, the number third spot is Luna, because she's very good in general to get in the selector, just because I say she deal a lot of damage, she is the main DPS, and I say like PJ about DPS, so getting her is very good, and also the weapon it make it even stronger, right? So as one whole package, she is very good though. But later when you already watch in maybe in 2024, maybe in around like February and something like that, then Kamui become more relevant than Luna, just because Luna will getting replaced soon, and you still able to use Kamui though, even with Lamia though. And getting the signature weapon also, or the 6-star weapon also, it's good though, because to make Kamui deal more damage. And number second, my choice will go into Lucia Plume as a one whole package, because I told you before that Lucia Plume still haven't any substitute as I recording this video, and I told you before that she's one of the very important in meta team even right now in CN, and the weapon is pretty much still very good to increase like ice damage in general and her DPS, and also better than Kujino Sada. And for the number one spot, I will give to Rosetta as one whole package as a character and the weapon itself, because I already told you before Rosetta still relevant even right now as I recording this video in CN. Also get blips, that means buffs, still make it more relevant than Lucia Plume. And also I also told you that the weapon is way more superior compared than her 5-star weapon. It's only increased damage, but 6-star weapon use like target physical defense, also give more damage. So it feels like, oh, this weapon is kind of like a must for Rosetta itself, in order to make even Rosetta feels like superior. Compare like the importance for you to get like Kujino Sada to Crimson Birch for Lucia Plume is just not really that so as important compare you have to get Gangnir for Rosetta. So because of that, as one whole package, Rosetta is just number one for me, because like it feels like a very good deal getting the character and the signature weapon, get a very good effect and good character that's still relevant though in the number one spot. So pretty much that's it though for my recommendation, which one I should pick in S rank selector and what weapon should you get. So in the end, I just leave it to you. And also I already say before, because PGR also is game that you can play both meta and just casually. In the end, play the way you enjoy the most, because yeah, that's more important. So pretty much that's it though. If you like this video, feel free to hit the subscribe button and like, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.